It's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Welcome to an Alumni Pathway interview. Today we have Nguyen, who graduated in 2018 from UNIS, here to talk about where she is right now and kind of what her pathway's been. So welcome, Ha. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your route, like what happened since you left UNIS.
Yeah, so I left UNIS in 2018. I began my bachelor's studies right away at Aalto University in Finland. Um, and I did my bachelor's in international business. And after 2.5 years, I graduated from my bachelor's and began my master's right away. And my master's, originally, I wanted to major in marketing, but then I switched it to management and international business, majoring in people development, which is basically HR, because I realized that's kind of what I was interested in doing. And actually, UNIS had a lot to do with my decision. In what I wanted to study because actually, when I first graduated, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. But after actually doing my bachelor's for a while, I connected it with a lot of stuff that I did back at UNIS, like service learning work. Really enjoyed all that stuff, community service and giving back to the community. I felt like that was what was really important to me. And so moving on to my master's, I wanted to kind of work more in the nonprofit sector. And kind of my major right now, it does a lot of work with NGOs and stuff like that. And so that's why I decided to pursue it. And now I'm also working at a nonprofit based in Finland, but it has roots in a lot of different countries in the world, including a lot of European countries like Germany, France. And yeah, I've been working there for almost a year now as a communications assistant, but also working a lot directly with our co-founders. And the work we do is basically supporting artists at risk from around the world who may be escaping persecution due to expressing their freedom of expression or freedom of speech, and kind of helping them find safe shelter in like safe havens and residencies around the world to help them continue practicing their art. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing since I left UNIS.
Wow. So I started trying to take some notes because there was so much I wanted to unpack on that. So let's start at the first. So you're in Finland. Are you
Yes.
Finnish? Do you have a Finnish background or?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
I'm completely Vietnamese. UNIS has been the only school I went to since Discovery up until grade 12. So I'm like UNIS. I'm from UNIS. And the reason why I applied to Finland is actually very coincidentally. I wasn't originally planning on applying to Finland. It was originally going to be the US or the Netherlands or Australia. But then actually, Nurse Lenang, her daughter, went to Finland and went to the same university as I did, and she only had glowing reviews about it. And so I was like, you know what? Why not do something different? Finland's nowhere near Vietnam, completely different. I want to experience a different culture. I wanted to try new things. And so I applied there. I got a scholarship, a full ride scholarship, and it covers the entire tuition of my bachelor's and my master's as well. It's like a full 5 year track. So that's another plus about going there. And yeah, like it was just so nice the moment I set foot here. I love the country. There's snow. So that was something new for me. Never touched snow before. So yeah, I mean, I came by Finland very coincidentally, but I don't think I would have changed my choice at all.
That's fantastic. What was the application procedure like for Finland?
It's super easy. You just need like your SAT scores and your IB grade, like your IBDP final exam grades, and you're basically set. You don't need to write an essay. You don't need to do anything. Just attach your grades, attach your transcript, like have UNIS send the transcript, have SAT send the grades, and you just wait for the results. Basically, the application process runs from mid-December to the beginning of January. So you have a few weeks to submit your application. they have a web portal where you just basically fill in your personal details, choose the way that you're going to submit your grade, and then press submit, and that's it. The application procedure is super easy. Um, and after a few months, they get back to you. They say, hey, you're accepted. You get a scholarship, or hey, sorry, we decided to go another way or something. But yeah, it's like super stress free. You don't have to prepare anything, which was really nice. And then just wait for them to get back to you.
That sounds awesome. The next part that I wanted to unpack, you said 2.5 years for your undergraduate. Is
Yes.
that normal, or did you fast track, or did your IB grades count for something?
Yeah. No, actually, the degree program that I did in Finland. It's set up that way. It's a very intensive program, but also really interesting because what you do, completely different to UNIS, completely different to other universities as well, is you focus on one 6 credit subject for 3 weeks. And during those 3 weeks, you're basically starting the subject, you're ending the subject. And so my whole undergraduate was 180 credits, and I basically completed all my credits there and did my bachelor's thesis and also planned for an exchange semester. And that exchange semester is mandatory for that degree program. So I was going to go to Yonsei University for my exchange actually, but because of COVID, it got canceled. So then I just ended up doing my exchange semester in Finland. But now that it's everything's getting a lot better, people are starting to do their exchange again. So I've like my underclassmen, they're right now applying for exchange programs in different universities around the world. Like there's so many choices to choose from. That's also another plus why I decided to go with that degree program. But basically, yeah, the whole gist of it is because you only do one course for 3 weeks, you have basically a lot to complete in 1 year. And so that's how you go through the undergraduate program super fast. Yeah.
And is it exam based or project based? Like how do those assessments work?
It's it's a mix of both depending on the course. For example, if you're studying like a finance course, it most likely will be exam based. But if you're studying like a corporate social responsibility course, you'll be working with companies outside of the school. They'll be like giving you projects to work on, and you'll be like providing them somewhat like a consulting project, but more that applying the knowledge that you've learned in class to that project, and then having the company themselves grade it and giving it back to the professor. So like it really depends on the course, but it's really nice because it's like a mixture of both, you know, theoretical work and hands-on work. Yeah.
That sounds fascinating. And then you just started a master's then at the same university. Was that competitive to get into, or was that like kind of a straight pathway approach?
Yeah, because it's really nice because the moment I applied for my bachelor's, the moment I applied, that program was also linked with a master's already. So once you apply for that program, you basically get a 5 year program, like 3 years master, 3 years bachelor's and 2 years master's. And so you just kind of like get automatic rights to your master's studies. But of course, like it's also very competitive. Aalto University is like the best university in Finland, basically. And so, it is quite competitive to get in at first. But I mean, once you're in, you're basically in. You don't really have to like worry about losing your study right unless you do something really bad. But other than that, it's very easy. You just kind of breeze through it. And yeah, it's really nice.
And so are you still working on your master's, or have you finished that?
Yeah, I'm finishing up my first year of my master's. So I just began my master's like autumn last year.
Okay, but yet you're working as well on.
Yeah, I'm working as well.
Okay. And
It's
so how many hours do you work? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, in Finland, basically international students are allowed to work up to 30 hours a week. And so I work less than that. I'm working part-time. So I'm working 4.5 hours a day. And which is not bad because the master's studies give you a lot of flexibility. Like probably in one semester you're taking like 2 or 3 courses and they're 6 credits each. And each course you probably go to class for like 2 days a week, and then the other days you basically have to yourself. You can do what you want. And so I mean, it's not really stressful unless you're working full-time and studying full-time. That's a different story. But I think working part-time, like the system in Finland that allows students to work up to 30 hours, it's set up that way so that you can study while working at the same time, get that, working experience while you're studying, which is really nice.
Well, it sounds like you're doing like quite an authentic job, like that could lead into
Yeah.
a career. Is that how it feels to you?
Yeah, it is because actually this job that I'm doing, it started off as an internship. Also, yeah, for my master's, the internship is a 6 credit course basically. So you can do an internship or you can take another course. And I decided to go with an internship. And what that does is basically I got the internship. I wrote up, like, once the internship ended, I wrote up an internship report, submitted it to the school. And also, I had kind of like my internship supervisors, the people at the organization. They really liked how I was doing at the organization. They liked the work I was doing. They liked my kind of how I was applying my school to my work, and so they decided to offer me a longer term employment. And that's been working out pretty well. It's a really nice organization. And they're also really flexible because they do know that I'm studying at the same time. So they like allow me a lot of leeway to also, prioritize my studies, but also still work at the same time. So it's really nice.
Fantastic. And do you see that being like a long-term career? Like, would you want to go into work
Um,
like that?
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Like they have a lot of space for growth and a lot of space for development. And the work that I'm doing there, it can be applied to a lot of different other career trajectories that if, I end up changing my mind one day, it's still like applicable to other jobs that I might be interested in. But yeah, definitely like I see myself staying at the organization for a long time. Like it's a really nice place and they do offer a lot of space for growth.
And so do you feel like just taking advantage of this internship opportunity is what's helped set you up for this? Or were there other opportunities you took advantage of in order to be kind of so set up the way you are?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Alto, they have a lot of career services that they allow students to like, take advantage of. Like they offer a lot of CV clinics, they offer a lot of networking events with like huge consulting companies like McKinsey or BCG, PwC. And actually they're also very informal events, so it doesn't like make you feel like, you're attending a job interview or anything like that. You sometimes it's like um you're talking to like your future boss or something, and it's just, having fun, karaoke, that kind of stuff. It's really informal. It's for you to get to know the company and see if you can see yourself there. And I've definitely taken advantage of those services. Like before my job here, I did also do an internship previously during my bachelor's, and that was thanks to basically the career services offered at the university. Um, and yeah, I mean, they have their own job portal, which is really nice because it's only for students at Alto University, and it's all like their business partners hiring from the university. So definitely like the opportunities out there are not limited at all. You just need to kind of like utilize them to your advantage. Yeah.
I feel like that's the key. Like
Yeah.
I'm hearing more and more that universities have these great services, but the students that I find who are in successful jobs or internships and stuff, it's because they really took advantage of those services. Would you agree with
Exactly.
that?
For sure. Like, no matter how shy you are, like, you just, if you want to be able to, find a job that you really enjoy or find a really well paying job so that you can do something you really enjoy, um, you have to be able to kind of get out of your comfort zone and really approach the people who can give you those opportunities. And I think that's something that I really had to learn for myself because during my first year there, obviously leaving my home country, settling in a new place, not knowing anybody here, it was really difficult. But then kind of at those like career events, I also met a lot of new people who became my friends, and I also met my future employers, stuff like that. You just really need to put yourself out there and expose yourself per se. Yeah.
It sounds like great advice. We should be giving our grade 12s as well.
Yeah.
If you were to tell your grade 10 self something, like, or if you were to change anything, or like, what might you want your grade 10 self to have learned in order to be successful?
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is the best advice for students who are entering the IBDP who are studying to take their exams, but honestly, your grades do not matter that much at all. Especially your high school grades. Don't stress yourself out too much because once you're in university, because honestly, no matter what, you're gonna get into university or you're gonna get into a college, or even if you don't go down that path, you're probably going to be doing something that you really enjoy. And so there's really no downside to that. And right now, I don't even remember my IBDP score. Like, I do not remember what it was. It holds no meaning for me whatsoever. It's just that the things that I studied during my school years at UNIS, they've really stuck with me. Like, the grades do not matter. That's what you're internalizing, what you're learning is really what's going to help you in the future. So yeah, like I tell myself to stop stressing out so much. Like, you're pulling all-nighters for nothing. Um, like, just let things take its course. You're gonna be fine. And I mean, as long as you're doing your best, you're probably on the right track. So yeah, I'd probably tell my sister the same thing right now. She's like stressing out because of the SATs or whatever. So, but yeah, like it doesn't matter.
I think that's great advice. I think the problem is to kind of get in that first door of university.
For
That's the
sure.
only time that grades matter.
For sure.
But then recognizing like you're in a completely different door than you'd ever anticipated, and yet you seem to be really happy about it and quite settled with your decision. So
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
like
people will
because
listen.
yeah, exactly. Like, I thought my world would end if I didn't, go to the US. Like, I applied to so many universities and colleges there. And like, rejection is just part of life. I got rejected from a lot of universities. I also got accepted to some, but because of my financial status, we needed like a scholarship, which was difficult. But then, I was able to land myself in a different position, and my grades weren't even that good, to be honest. Like, my mom was so upset, but I mean, I'm happy now, and like, I studied business because I didn't know what to do, but turns out it was the right track. So I mean, no matter what door you go through, you're gonna be in a place that you're meant to be. So like, the stars will align or whatnot. You just have to like trust that it will. Yeah.
I love it. Do you feel that what you learned, like I understand it's not the grades or the all-nighter, but like the
Yeah.
content of the IBDP, like has that helped
Oh,
you or
yeah,
like
definitely. Like, I took economics for my as one of my courses for the IB, and I remember feeling so excited when when like stuff from my economics SL class started showing up in my lessons. I was like, oh, I already know this stuff. Like, I'm just relearning it. I'm just like gonna like put my skills to work, and also like I feel the IB does prepare you for a lot of things like academic writing or stuff like that. Like, I think specifically that just learning how to do citations itself is so huge. Like, my other classmates, for example, they who didn't take the IB, when they first were introduced to the concept of citations, they were so confused. They were like all over the place. They were like, why do we have to do this? Like, it makes no sense. It's just a waste of time. But then it's like, once you've kind of gone through that process already, you're like so used to it. You're like, you guys don't do this? Like, what are you doing? Um, or even things like, critical thinking. Such an important aspect that I think that I didn't realize how important it was when I was studying the IB. Like, because you don't, when you're studying, you don't realize all the kind of soft skills that you're also learning from the actual theory or the actual knowledge that you're gaining. But then once you go to university and you're studying something that you weren't studying in high school, you're like, wait, but for example, studying math HL helped me to think analytically, or studying literature HL helped me to, analyze things and read between the lines or whatever. So it really does teach you a lot of soft skills that you need for life later on, and even like people skills as well. Having the mandatory service learning or community service, doing that definitely helps you to gain a much bigger perspective of the world and kind of like of the community at large outside of just yourself. So I think that's like a huge thing that the IB has definitely prepared me for.
Well, that's great to hear. I really like that grade 10's going into the IB. You can hear that although,
Yeah,
yes, it is hard and yes, it's challenging, you're going to feel completely prepared for university
for
based on this
sure.
experience. So,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for your time today. I think this has been super useful also because I've never spoken to someone who's gone to university in Finland. So, um,
Yeah.
I hope this opens up people's eyes to the
For sure.
possibilities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. It was really nice having this discussion with you as well. So, yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm just going to stop recording here.